Have you ever heard of the Disney Renaissance? It took place between 1989 and 1999 and contained 10 different films. This was really when Disney was stepping into the spotlight again with their animated movies, and today I wanted to rank those movies. So, like I said, I'll be ranking the 10 films from the Disney Renaissance. Don't have much else to say, here we go.
You think you own whatever land you land on.
At number 10, I have Pocahontas. This is the only movie on this list that I just don't like and have never liked. It always felt in poor taste and racist, and the more I've heard about the real history of Pocahontas, the more I dislike the movie. I have no clue who greenlighted this, but I felt like it was a huge misstep. The only bit of saving grace this movie has is the music isn't awful sometimes. This is truly the only bad Disney Renaissance movie, and one of my least favorite Disney movies in general. I haven't rewatched this movie in a year or so, but I don't plan to ever again.
I want to be where the people are.
At number 9, I have The Little Mermaid. I hate that I had to put this movie this low, but honestly, it's more of a testament to how amazing the Disney Renaissance was. I didn't watch this movie for the first time until a couple years ago. I suspect the lack of nostalgia has a good amount to do with it not ranking any higher for me. But it is a great movie with a unique story. Not only that, but the music in The Little Mermaid was also fantastic. This movie was the start of the Disney Renaissance, and it also was one of the ones that set the trend for the new Disney movies being musicals. I appreciate the storytelling of it, too, because being able to tell a story when your main character can't really talk for some of it is pretty impressive. All in all, a very good movie that is so much better than Pocahontas below it. At number 8, I have The Rescuers Down Under. So I had seen this movie before, but it had been a long time, so I rewatched it last night. Looking at it from an outside perspective, like it was the first time I'd seen this, it was kind of, I don't know, it felt like the odd one out with these movies. There's no princess or songs really, and it's a sequel to a movie that came out 13 years prior. But let me tell you, this was such a fun watch. I love the voice acting and the story, the way, the over-the-top villain is crazy. The villain was literally trying to feed this little boy to crocodiles. He was cartoonishly evil. And this movie really reminds me of a lot of the older Disney movies like The Great Mouse Detective or 101 Dalmatians. It has a certain built-in nostalgia that really works for me and really does its job. It has a pretty short runtime, and the movie wasted no time getting right into the story. This was a great movie, and I'm glad I got the chance to rewatch it.
I am your only friend.
At number 7, I have The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I didn't watch The Hunchback of Notre Dame very often as a kid, and it's pretty easy to see why. It's kind of a scary movie, especially for a Disney movie, and for a little kid it was a little bit too much. My appreciation for this movie came years later in my teens and in my 20s. This is a really beautiful movie. The themes around religion and lust and shame were done just so well. And Quasimodo hiding because he won't be welcome to the city just always hurt to watch. But then characters like Esmeralda and Phoebus, I can't really remember if that's how you pronounce his name, the blonde guy, they give you a little bit of hope for humanity. I remember originally liking the gargoyles that are the side characters in comic relief, but that didn't last into my teens. I really thought the music was very good in this really hammering down the religion part of the movie, and I thought it was great. I think this movie is an underrated classic that holds up very well to the test of time. It would be much higher if this list wasn't completely stacked.
Tale as old as time.
At number 6, I have Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast is really good. The music, the story, the lesson, and the characters are all put on display in this Academy Award-winning movie. Belle and Beast are interesting and deep characters that both have different reasons for all their actions. Not only that, but the side characters are all great as well. From Lumiere to Belle's father, they all have unique personalities and different things that make them stick out from the rest. And Gaston is such an egomaniac and great villain. He took If I Can't Have Her, Then No One Else Can to a whole new level. Lastly, the music is literally award-winning, and for good reason. Try to think of many more iconic Disney songs than the Be Our Guest and Beauty and the Beast songs. You can't. And, I don't know, it's just a very good movie, and it genuinely lives up to the hype. At number 5, I have Lion King. I'd say if a poll was taken, that Lion King would probably be most people's favorite on this list, as long as the live-action versions haven't really tarnished its reputation yet. And it's for good reason too, because the movies above it on the list are like 4 of my favorite Disney movies ever. That's the only reason it's this low. Lion King really took the world by storm when it came out. From the celebrity voice acting to Hakuna Matata, this movie was absolutely everywhere throughout my childhood. It also has one of the greatest openings in any animated movie I've ever seen. It just captures your attention from the first second and doesn't really give in the entire movie. The characters are very good throughout, like Scar, Rafiki, and Pumbaa, just to name a few. Being able to name 90% of the characters in an animated movie shows how memorable and good it was. And Scar was the villain that really understood the assignment. He killed his brother and took over the pride within like 30 minutes of the movie. Lastly, the music was unbelievable. From the starting song to my personal favorite, I Just Can't Wait to Be King, it really integrated music in a natural way, and this is a great movie to no one's surprise.
Oh, you ain't never had a friend like me.
At number 4, I have Aladdin. Aladdin was such a good and unexpectedly good movie for me. It's very much a Princess Disney film, but it added a lot to it. For one, I can't overstate enough how much Robin Williams makes this movie great. He ad-libbed something like 75% of his lines and just made the movie special. Him going on random rants of pop culture and just being overall very silly makes me miss him very much to this day. But the story was also very well told. Jasmine and Aladdin had great chemistry for animated characters, and the world crafted around them was just magical. Also, one of my favorite Disney sequences, A Whole New World, was amazing in this movie. I really bought them falling in love with each other. It didn't feel forced at all. He met her because she was stealing food for some kids. That's exactly something he would do, and it shows that their love is, like, believable. I like this movie very much, and it usually only goes up on my rankings with each rewatch. You should watch Aladdin today. At number 3, I have Tarzan. Now for my 3rd favorite Disney movie ever. Tarzan is one of the most rewatchable movies on this entire list. It drops you into the story immediately with his parents building a home in the jungle after a shipwreck. From that moment on, I was locked in. Who is this kid and how could he survive after he lost his family? Then seeing him grow up amongst the gorillas was so interesting. It was almost like another take on the Jungle Book story. I love all the characters, animal or otherwise. Kerchak's relationship with Tarzan is layered and interesting. Kala was a fantastic adopted mother to him and helped him grow into the man he became. Then there's his friends like Turk and Tantor. I love seeing how they became friends and how their relationship evolved. Speaking of relationships, I loved his with Jane. It just felt natural and real. But the star of the show is Phil Collins. This may be the Disney movie with the most consistently great music. Phil Collins really did cook with this music he brought to Tarzan and makes it twice as rewatchable.
To find where I belong.
At number 2, I have Hercules. I love Hercules. Ever since I was little, I loved watching this movie. It's like a superhero mixed with ancient mythology, and those are 2 of my favorite things. I loved how the muses told the story, and I always thought they were fantastic. And the voice acting in Hercules might be my favorite. Every character has somehow been given the perfect voice to fit their character. Think of Zeus. Think of Hades. Can you imagine anyone else doing their voices? I really can't. Speaking of Hades, he was fantastic. James Woods really towed the line between being funny or sarcastic and absolutely terrifying. I really loved how their worlds looked too. The underworld looked perfect, Olympus looked perfect, and the ancient cities were full of life and fun characters. The titans, gods, and creatures all had such cool and unique designs. Then Hercules himself was so well portrayed, and his story and his growth into a hero just made sense. His relationships with Phil, Meg, and Pegasus were always so well written and fun to watch. Lastly, I love the music in Hercules. From the Muses songs to my second favorite Disney song ever, Go the Distance, it was all so dang good. I love this movie, and there's only one Disney movie I like more than it, and that's coming up at number 1.
Let's get down to business.
At number 1, I have Mulan. Now, for my favorite Disney movie ever. I love Mulan, and it has always been my favorite. The story itself is simple, but incredibly well told. She secretly takes her father's place and goes to war dressed as a man. That's it. But it's everything in between that makes this movie amazing. Her relationship with her dad was complex and well thought out. Her relationship with herself, fighting between wanting to honor her family and be herself. Her relationship with her 3 friends she made at camp, and Mushu, and the cricket. I don't know, they're all so great. This movie does a great job exploring all of these relationships, and none of them are even her love interest. Mulan was just so well thought out. It seemed like they took their time with it, and I really appreciated that. Scenes of her training and getting stronger and better at the camp were some of the best use of training montage music I've ever seen. Their fights with the Huns, both on the mountain and at the end of the movie, felt so fun and like it had real stakes. Her love story was great, but it wasn't the main part of the movie. I loved how the movie balanced the funny, silly times with the very serious ones. Like, think about the whiplash you got the first time watching them sing A Girl Worth Fighting For, and then finding the village in absolute ruins. That was crazy. Shan Yu was such a good villain as well. He barely spoke throughout the film, but he was terrifying and so impactful. Lastly, Mulan has my very favorite Disney song. I'll Make a Man Out of You is perfect. The song, the vocals, the lyrics are all great. Not to mention, it was a great training montage song. I loved it so much and belt it out at any point I get the chance. And I love Mulan, and it's just easily my favorite of the Disney Renaissance movies. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and subscribe if you did. I'll be ranking things every week. I put them out every Saturdays. Also, speaking of that, comment below what I should rank next, because, I don't know, I want to do stuff you want to see too. But like I said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next week.